Welcome to another fabulous episode of the Psychedelic Circus. I'm your host, Z, here, and I have a most spectacular and amazing surprise for you. I have the wonderful Ben Christo is in the studio. He's the lead guitarist of the Sisters of Mercy, as well as the lead guitarist of his own band under the title of Night by Night. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Ben Christo.
Wonderful to speak to you, Z. Thanks for getting in contact with me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Ben. It's been an honor to have you on the show. So I'm excited to hear that you just went on tour with the Sisters of Mercy, and you're just getting back into London, where you live. Tell me a little bit about what happened on tour.
We went to, I think we did about 11 or 12 gigs. We did a lot of places. We did 2 nights in the venue. So that was extra fun because you'd go in, you'd set up, you'd do everything, you'd play the gig, you'd go and have fun, and then you just like roll in the next day at like 4 or 5, and everything's already set up to play another show. Yeah, it was ace. As opposed to often when you do shows, bus call is at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then you're off, and then you just do the whole thing the next day. So, not saying that isn't fun. That is fun, but this is even more fun.
Yeah, that's dirty rock and roll the old way. But this is very you're on a professional tour here, and this is definitely. It's nice that you don't have to spend 15 minutes. It's your setup time.
Yeah, it's really nice being playing as part of this sort of setup because everyone around you, working with you, is so good at what they do. So it makes your job so easy and so pleasurable. And I remember specifically on this tour, possibly more so than ever before, just enjoying playing so much, being there live, playing the songs, having a really responsive and enthusiastic audience, and just being able to do what you are really good at and like doing.
Living your passion.
Yeah, but effortlessly, so you can really express yourself and enjoy every second of the playing. Whereas often when you go out and do things with like a less established band or in a smaller venue or whatever, there's all sorts of amusing trials and tribulations with which you have to contest in order to, you can't really hear the guitar, or you don't get a sound check, or you can't really hear your vocals, or some guy who you thought was going to be on the merch isn't actually there, so you're trying to sort that out like 2 seconds before you go on stage with people phoning you about guest list.
That's true. You're everybody in a small band, and it's nice to have a people or a community around you that help, that you just have to focus on the music and what you're there to do, as opposed to having to be everyone all the time.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm so grateful to everyone who helped and everyone who works around, that we work with, for just making everything just so easy. The guy who does the monitors, Rob, I remember being on stage and actually you can actually tangibly feel each aspect of the music. This sounds really kind of pretentious, but that's how it's like. You can feel like you're within the actual song because you can almost feel
the sound system's so good.
Yeah, and the way that he's EQ'd and leveled everything so that it actually feels like you're actually sort of within the song and you're really, really sort of part of it, that you don't always get. Well, you hardly ever get when you're doing like a smaller venue or some bloke who just works for the venues doing the monitors or whatever.
Yeah, the energy from the sound system isn't so profound.
Exactly. No, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, it is really profound, and it just makes the entire thing a real joy. And there's all sorts of emotions and memories tied up with a lot of these songs that I play in the Sisters, and it's nice to be able to really feel and express those without the technicalities of things usurping that,
Yeah, totally. So tell me, what is your favorite Sisters of Mercy song?
I really enjoy playing a song called Logic, which is on the album, because we do like a sort of a faster, cooler version of it, but it still retains a lot of the emotional elements of the original. And I love to play that song. I think it's everything about it is great, and the newer version is cooler and a bit faster and a bit like more rocky and less dirgy. And it's just got loads of cool memories for me. I used to listen to that record before I was in the band.
Ah, yeah, that's always an important thing. Well, let's take a short break and play actually Logic from Sisters of Mercy. We'll be right back with Ben Christo, the lead guitarist of Sisters of Mercy, here on the Psychedelic Circus. This is the Psychedelic Circus. I'm your host, Z, here on Air FM Music. And in the studio with us is Ben Christo, the lead guitarist of the Sisters of Mercy. Thank you so much, Ben, for being here. I would like to ask you, how did you become part of the band?
It was a bit of a mysterious circumstance. You know how there are certain times of day or week that are cool times? Like, for example, 9 p.m. on a Friday is generally a cool time, whereas 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday isn't such a cool time. There's usually not something really good happening, right?
True.
And it was 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, and nothing good was happening. I was in my kitchen, and I just have this really weird memory. I was making a tuna and carrot sandwich, which I'd never done before. And I was experimenting with it. I was thinking, I wonder what would happen
if I make a tuna and carrot sandwich.
Yeah. And I was getting ready to go to work, and I was going to take the sandwich with me to work because I was working.
Did you enjoy the sandwich?
Yeah, it was exciting. I was grating the carrots, sort of like mix it in with the tuna. Anyway. I was going to work, and at that time I was working in a wine shop, as in alcohol wine, which was basically just like a glorified tobacco like newsagents, whatever you'd call it, convenience store.
Oh.
That mostly sold alcohol and wine anyway, I was working there in the evenings and also doing some teaching, and making a sandwich. It was 2:47. Nothing good was happening. The phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. I wonder who this is. Hello. Okay. Hi. We might want you to be in our band. I'm like, okay. What's your band? Wouldn't tell me. What's it like? Wouldn't tell me. Okay. Sounds great. So being spontaneous and thinking, why not? I decided I was going to go to an audition for this band that I didn't know what it was like or who it was.
Mysterious.
But it was mysterious, and the way they were talking about it, it sounded like they were going to do some quite good things. They did mention like various things they were going to be up to. So I went to this audition, got to this room, and there was a couple of guys sitting around. One guy with a computer, one guy with a guitar, one guy with a hat. The guy with the guitar said, "Try this riff. Can you play this riff?" And this would go on for a while. He'd play a couple of riffs. I'd play them back. Then he said, "Play some guitar solos over these ideas." That was fine. And I still didn't know who it was or what it was or, anything about it really.
Yeah.
And I started to think, hang on, stylistically, this music sounds like the Sisters of Mercy. Now, the reason why I knew that was because I wasn't a huge follower of the band, but I did have one of the albums on cassette that I used to listen to on the way to school.
Oh yeah, bring it back.
So I knew one of their albums really well because I just used to listen to it on the way to school. And stylistically, when I look back in hindsight, I realized that they were playing their newer material that they hadn't yet recorded.
Oh, interesting.
But the style of it was so Sisters-like that I kind of thought, wow, this sounds a bit like the Sisters of Mercy. So I thought, what would happen if I now play a famous Sisters of Mercy riff, just play it here and see if anyone says anything. And so I played one of the riffs casually, like whatever. And the man in the hat goes, that's one of our songs. Oh my God. Right? From that point on, I was really quite nervous.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't really play properly anymore. And suddenly I was incredibly glad that they had kept it a secret because I'd had no expectation. I'd had no apprehension as I would have had. Because, everyone's been to an interview for a job they've really wanted. Mm-hmm. And everyone's sat outside terrified. And I didn't have to go through that because I didn't really care.
Yeah.
So I got in there. I could just relax, play guitar, do what I do, and
shine in the best way you could.
Yeah, without any of the pressures of thinking, oh my God, if I don't get this, I have to go back to selling fucking Sauvignon Blanc to that guy who comes in all the time with a weird
mustache or something.
Exactly. That wasn't on my mind at all. It was just fuck it, just play guitar, whatever. Sorry, I swore. You can cut that out.
No, don't worry about it. It's internet radio. Well, I'm going to stop you right there because we're going to have to take a short break. We'll be back with more from Ben Christo, the lead guitarist of the Sisters of Mercy, here on the Psychedelic Circus on Air FM Music.